Hello there friends, CS News Live reporting. In today's video, an update that brought even more bugs, the team fighting for a spot at the Major, are CLOUD9 headed for another roster shuffle, and plenty of other exciting news. And as always in the end, matches reviews. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Let's kick off today's episode with the most loyal and wealthiest Furia fan in Counter-Strike, Neymar. Not only does the Brazilian football star try to catch every match of his favorite team, but he also decided to lend one of the players his skins. Right now, Yuri is using Neymar's AK-47 case hardened with a blue gem pattern. This skin is estimated to be worth around $60k, but that's not all. The skin also features a crown sticker, which also is valued about $600 and is highly sought after by many. During a stream with the famous Brazilian streamer Galás, Neymar mentioned that this gesture symbolizes his support for Yuri and the entire team. And it seems like the player has already taken the support to heart, as he's currently the team's top performer, even surpassing Case Serrato. And he also played his best map in the past 2 years. And since we're on topic of Brazil, we can't miss out on sharing an interesting interview with Pashabiceps. Wait, what? Pashabiceps and Brazil? But, well guys, listen to this. Recently, this Polish legend was asked if he could play for any team in the history of CS, which one he would choose. And he said that he'd like to fulfill his dream and play for Luminosity instead of FNX, lineup from 2015-2016. And guys, just imagine this: Taco, Cold Zero, Fallen, Fair, and Pashabiceps. That sounds unbeatable. And Kenny was also asked the same question, and he said that he would love to play for FaZe in 2019 and 2024, as well as for Liquid in 2019. According to the Frenchman, in his prime he was much stronger than Brokey is now. Honestly, this sounds like a brilliant idea for a show match. Wouldn't it be nice if IEM Rio organizers would do that? Yeah. While some CS veterans are sharing their dreams, others are working hard to regain their best form. Since Dupree joined Falcons, the stats of his longtime teammate Magisk have sharply improved. At Blastfall Groups, he had 133 in peak, and during the play-in stage of Cologne it is 113, which is significantly better than what he had before, and it's super close to what he had in Astralis. I wonder if it's really connected to Dupree joining the team or something else. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Do you know, guys, that ESL teaches players how to take perfect photos? There's a whole special guide from ESL on tips how to pose during media days. This included a bunch of iconic movie scenes like Borat, American Psycho, Deadpool, Pulp Fiction, Thor, The Shining, and The Wolf of Wall Street. It seems fun because most of the time pro players just look boring on photos. And that Borat thing, it's unbeatable. And now let's get to the juicy part. Valve has rolled out yet another update for CS2, but there's still no operation, just plenty of new bugs. The update mainly focuses on regular game modes, for example, voting at the end of matches and all that. Also, just listen to this: dead players can no longer pick up weapons. I mean, what? And also, rescuing a hostage now adds points to the scoreboard. But as always, there was one thing that broke everything: restricted upward movement of a player when a teammate is boosted on their head. It seems harmless, right? After all, it's just a bug fix on Vertigo. Seemingly. Well, yes, but also no. This thing completely broke the game. Just take a look at this. Now 2 players can literally levitate at any moment during a match. It's like magic outside of Hogwarts. Someone even managed to pull off a triple boost with this bug, allowing them to see the mid doors from the T-spawn. Even more so, this bug made its way to the pro scene. During a CCT tournament match between Fluffy Aimers and Final Form, the attacking side demonstrated this boost live on the second pistol round. They didn't use it to gain advantage though, but definitely gave the commentators a good laugh. But, well, credit where it's due. Valve managed to fix everything within a couple of hours. But it weren't CS2 and Valve if this fix wouldn't give us new bugs. For example, this. Now, if you stand on your teammate and jump simultaneously, your weapon recoil will disappear entirely, meaning you will shoot with perfect accuracy, whether it's an AWP, Deagle, or any other gun. Besides the bugs, the update also sparked a minor controversy. 2 well-known streamers and content creators, Loba and Hakes, are calling for a change in developers, or better yet, to stop updating the game altogether altogether, since each update seems to bring more problems. On one hand, their point is valid, but on the other hand, it's worth remembering that Loba has been a long-time critic and obviously hater of CS2, so this might be just more of the same old hate. With the update also, one of the most well-known data miners, Gabe Follower, discovered a large number of code strings related to charms, also known as keychains, which have been rumored since CSGO. He says that charms will be likely attachable to any weapon and to any location, similar to how stickers work. Yeah, on one hand it looks cool, but on the other it seems like it could sometimes be distracting during gameplay. And charms or keychains will most likely be found in a separate case and will have their own rarity levels, so they probably won't be ultra rare as knives or gloves. Gabe Follower also mentioned a hidden update to the anti-cheat system in this patch. Now if VAC detects anti-aim software on a player, they'll be banned for 24 hours. And their next game will be against other cheaters. Essentially a legal HVH mode. Additionally, he uncovered an interesting element in the game's code labeled as Discrete Loot List, which has a slightly altered gift icon from CSGO. There's no info on this yet, but fans are already speculating about its potential. In the concept, players can upgrade their rewards by completing tasks, and it looks pretty cool, to be honest. But will Valve actually implement this? Probably not. It's hard to believe that they would be so generous as to give away secret grade skins for free. I mean, we're not Dota 2, right? Where people get Arcanas for free. Aside from all the new features, Gabe Follower believes that the next major update will be released alongside the operation that has been in the works since March of last year. So my friends, we're back to waiting mode. Now my friends, let's talk a bit about roster shuffles. There's a high probability that the new CLOUD9 lineup will see some changes. This is largely due to Valve's rules, which require at least 3 players who were in the Valve rankings to be the part of the team in order to qualify for the Major and RMRs. And at the moment, to match the rules, aside from Boomich and Exile, Cloud9's roster includes Perfecto, Hobbit and Alpha. And the latter two have already found new teams, while there were only unconfirmed rumors about Ilya Perfecto. Analysts have also been discussing possible replacements, as they believe Inter's is slightly below Perfecto's level. Additionally, someone's baiting on social media, I mean Ilya's girlfriend. She just posted a photo where Perfecto is wearing a CLOUD9 t-shirt. So there is a chance that one of the best anchors in the world can get back to Cloud9's camp soon. And before we quickly discuss the play-in matches of Cologne, let's talk about one of the teams. Thorin strikes again, as he thinks that the Turkish dream team Eternal Fire has only 2 strong players, Centaurus and Wikadia, while the rest are just dragging the team down. And to some extent, he might be right, to be honest. Waxek doesn't have the same reaction speed as before, and Major, to put it mildly, is getting old. He's undoubtedly a very experienced captain and his stats are decent, but the team still struggles to capitalize on their advantages at times. Whether Thorin is right about Eternal Fire, we'll find out soon enough. In our last video we covered which teams had already advanced to the main stage and which were eliminated, and on the final day of play-in there were 6 more matches to look forward to. The upper bracket match between 9Z and MIBR. Both teams had shown strong performances in the previous games, and things started well for the Brazilians on Ancient, but then the Argentinians set up a rock-solid defense. 9Z pushed it into overtimes where they clinched victory. Next up was Nuke. Here 9Z proved again that this is their best map, and MIBR managed to win only 2 rounds on CT and none on T side. The only highlight was an almost successful 1v5 clutch by Exit. So 9Z moved on to face Astralis and MIBR dropped to the lower bracket. Next, Imperial vs Pain. The game kicked off on Dust 2. It started with Imperial dominating, and later Pain couldn't complete the comeback and lost the first map. Next up was Vertigo, a map that Pain plays at a very high level, and they did great. Imperial tried to come back but couldn't manage and lost on Pain's pick. The decider was Inferno, where Pain eventually closed out the game, ending Imperial's run at IEM Cologne and sending the veterans back to Brazil. Right after, another Brazilian team took the stage, this time Furia against Heroic. The first map was Heroic's pick, Mirage. However, it seemed that they weren't simply ready for the motivated Brazilians. The game became a back and forth battle, and unfortunately for Heroic fans, this worked in Furia's favor. Next up was Anubis, Furia's pick. And here Heroic came back in the series, showing some decent play. This led to a 1-1 tie in maps. Nuke was where the real battle began, a fight to the death. The back and forth continued, but in the second half, Furia started to take the lead. Heroic had a chance to force 2 overtimes, but it wasn't meant to happen, and they were sent packing. Next was BIG versus Falcons. The match kicked off on BIG's pick, Dust 2, though you wouldn't have guessed it by their performance. Falcons were just better. On the second map, Falcons started strong again, but Regan's Deagle came into play. That moment, combined with the loss on Dust 2, seemed to light a fire under the Germans, and they forced the series to a decider. On the final map, Sanpayas took control himself. By the end of the first half, he was at 17-3, and he was just unstoppable. He soloed it. In the end, neither German team will be playing on their home stage, so Falcons move on to FaZe Mouse. Now, the Mongolians versus Eternal Fire. The series kicked off on Anubis, where Eternal Fire showed they've got a stronger T side. After the side switch, the Mongolians tried to come back, but the Turks just closed out the map. Next up was the Mongols' pick, Mirage, and here they just steamrolled Eternal Fire. The third map was a roller coaster of momentum shifts and comebacks. It started with a dominant Turkish defense, but after the sides switched, the Mongolians won 4 rounds, then another 4 and got to the map point. But the Turks fought back and pushed the game into overtimes, although they couldn't crack Mongolians' defense or hold their own, so they were eliminated. Next, MIBR faced off against Pain. The match kicked off on Mirage. Pain led 7-5, and unfortunately for MIBR fans, there was no comeback. But things flipped on the second map. MIBR just demolished Pain. And the decider was Vertigo, which has become more of a T-sided map after the recent updates, giving MIBR a good chance to win. But it wasn't supposed to be. MIBR got eliminated and Pain will now prepare to face Na'Vi. That said, Eternal Fire, MIBR, BIG, Heroic and Imperial have been eliminated from IEM Cologne 2024, while Pain, the Mongols, Falcons, Furia and 9Z are still in the fight for the trophy. Before we dive into the first matches of the main stage of Cologne, we have to let you know that all the RMR participants and closed qualifier teams have been announced. In Europe, the teams already invited to the RMRs are G2, Team Spirit, Na'Vi, Mouse, Vitality, Astralis, FaZe, Virtus.pro, Eternal Fire, 3D Max, NIP, Heroic, Falcons, BB Team, Fnatic and Aurora. Many more teams will compete in the closed qualifiers, with some of the most interesting being ANS, BIG, SAW, Gamer Legion, CLOUD9, OG and TSM. But, my friends, just listen to this. BC Game is also there, even though they shouldn't have been allowed due to the cheater, Joel, whom we covered in one of our last videos. But it just seems that Gabe is okay with that. Other quite interesting teams are Bleed, Monte, B8 and Sangal. Interestingly, also Para is among the invited teams, despite being repeatedly accused of match fixing. And by the way, they don't even have a registered roster on HLTV. In Americas, the RMR will feature Liquid, Furia, Complexity, 9Z, Pain, MIBR, M80 and Imperial. As for the qualifiers, teams like Energy with Nitro, Nouns, Potty Astronauts and Legacy will compete in North America, while Flaxo and the Lionel Messi sponsored Crew will represent South America. And of course, other teams, but these are the ones to keep an eye on. Who do you think will make it through the RMR to the major? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now let's get back to matches, and this time we're diving into the main stage of IEM Cologne. Today we had 4 matches from Group A and 2 from Group B, so let's get started. The action kicked off with a highly anticipated showdown between FaZe and Liquid. Twists played against his ex, who would come out on top. But before the match, let's take a moment to appreciate the genius mind games from Kerrigan. Since Team Liquid had the first map ban, FaZe's captain decided to ban Liquid's strongest map, Anubis, knowing that neither team plays Vertigo, which Liquid would be forced to ban. This left Liquid with Mirage as their pick. and things immediately swung in FaZe's favor as they took the first 5 rounds. Liquid eventually woke up and started to gain some momentum, bringing the score to 5-7 by the end of the first half. The second half was initially easier for Liquid, but as soon as they took the lead, their strategies started to fall apart, which allowed FaZe to win a streak of 4 rounds and reach the map point. Ultimate tried to turn the tide with a quadro kill, and in the following round he and JKS brilliantly held the A side. I mean, I love this guy Ultimate, but even that wasn't enough, and Liquid lost their map pack. Nuke, FaZe's pick, began slightly better for FaZe as they won the pistol round and the follow-up. However, they encountered trouble during the first buy round, which allowed Liquid to win 3 rounds in a row. FaZe eventually found their rhythm and went to a 4-round streak, but Liquid fought back, ending the first half in a tie. But the second half was completely controlled by FaZe Clan. Liquid had every chance to turn the game around if it weren't for twists, and more specifically his Molotov invent that caught Nav during a crucial clutch. Whether he just forgot who he's playing for or it was just a coincidence, it's up for debate. In the end, despite their efforts, Liquid lost the second map as well, sending them to the lower bracket. Meanwhile, Virtus.pro versus Complexity. The first map was Vertigo, with Complexity starting on the T side, and they were clearly prepared. In the first half, VP managed to win only the pistol and 2 other rounds. Despite having several chances to turn the game in their favor, such as when Grim was left in a 1v3 at 5-2, Complexity still came out on top. After sides switched, it seemed like VP might have a chance to come back, especially given their reputation as comeback masters. However, aside from a quadro by Fame, they couldn't produce anything significant, leading to a loss on the first map. Surely it was their opponent's pick, and they could still easily take their own map, but such a decisive defeat can be demoralizing. Next up was Dust 2, one of the Bears' best maps. And in the early rounds, that seemed to be the case. VP easily dismantled Complexity's defense, winning 4 rounds in a row after losing the pistol round. But then something clearly went off track. After that success, the Bears struggled to take even one more round. On mid, Holzer completely shut down Jame. After sides switched, things looked up for Virtus.pro again, as they won 5 rounds in a row and tied the score. But at 10-10, Complexity pulled off an unbelievable 3v5 round, and thanks to Elysia's incredible aim, they got to the match point. The Bears, however, fought back and forced the game into overtimes, where they eventually secured the win thanks to a clutch by Electronic with just 10 HP. Finally, the decider, Anubis. Early on, it was clear that the Bears were facing some issues. Despite getting the pistol round on the stronger side, they lost 4 in a row and then dropped several more, bringing the score to 8-4. And on weaker side, the Bears managed to take only 1 round, as they were just swept off the map and sent to the lower bracket. And next was one of the most exciting matches of the first day, Sol versus G2. Despite how well the Portuguese team was playing recently, G2 was still considered the favorites in this matchup. But, well, okay, let's just look at this. On Nuke, Sol started on T side, while G2 have constantly performed well on this map, took the CT side. However, it seemed like G2 just weren't there, as I can't explain how they managed to lose 8 rounds on the CT side, which traditionally is the strongest on Nuke. In fact, only m0NESY ended the half with a positive KDA, while the rest of the team struggled with negative stats. In a recent video, we mentioned that Snax felt his team was constantly playing 3v5 or 4v5 due to weaker teammates, but this was more like a 1v9. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with G2. They managed to take only 1 round on T side, and the winning round for Sol came from a 2v3 clutch by Ujerks. And that was it on Nuke. Disastrous. Next was G2's map pick, and honestly, everyone expected a dominating performance from them, and it seemed like that initially, especially after the Samurais took 5 rounds in a row on the T side, finishing the half 7-5. But after switching to CTs, they only won the pistol round and 2 more, and Sol just staged a comeback and took the map. Even an ace clutch from Nico couldn't save the team. In the end, the first major upset of the tournament point was G2's defeat by the world's 29th ranked team. But on the other hand, well done, Saw. One hell of a game. Meanwhile, Astralis faced off against 9Z. The first map was Dust 2, picked by Astralis. And everything seemed to be going according to their plan. They kept winning rounds in sets of 3, reaching the score of 7-4. However, in the last round of the first half, they lost to a Deagle, amazing play by Buddha. And even though that moment was kind of frustrating, it didn't significantly impact the Danes' morale, especially after a spectacular pistol round by Styr. Though Astralis encountered some issues afterwards, with 9Z briefly taking the lead. But the Danes pulled themselves together, won 4 in a row, and secured their map pick. Next was the Argentinians' pick, and instead of Nuke, as many might have expected, they chose Inferno. Perhaps they thought Astralis would be well prepared for Nuke, or maybe they were unsure of their own strength. Anyway, their start looked promising for 9Z. They won the pistol and the force buy. But then they lost 10 in a row. It was just a one-sided humiliation. In the second half, though, they tried to come back, but it didn't work. These defeats sent 9Z straight to the lower bracket, while Astralis moved on. Next up was the Mongols versus Team Spirit, another very interesting match. Although Spirit were the clear favorites, the god of CS had other plans. Let's break it down. The first map was the Mongolians' pick, Ancient, their signature map, although Spirit are also quite strong on it. And in the very first round, Senzu did something completely crazy. Someone send this cowboy back to the Mongolian steppes, or better yet to the Olympics. But Spirit quickly responded. Their best players stepped up and Chopper and Magisk joined the fight. Despite this, the Mongolian Dream Team managed to bring the first half to a draw. The second pistol round, Shiro clutch. Amazing. Then Spirit took 2 more rounds and seemed to take another one as the Mongolians were out of money, but they unexpectedly lost to an eco. The game seemed to be swinging back to Spirit's favor, but at 11-9 Blitz snuck in from behind, took down one opponent and another, and just then was traded. After a series of tense exchanges, Shiro found himself in a 1v2. Knowing where the op was, he decided to push. 9-10 through a smoke, and the Spirit player decided to start spraying through it too early, and it was a mistake. By the time Shiro faced an opponent, he had run out of bullets, and this chain of events brought the game to overtimes. And here the Mongols gave it everything they had, winning 2 rounds on defense and 2 on attack. And they won a map against Spirit. Next was Anubis, their opponent's pick. Team Spirit might have been inspired by Eternal Fire's success on this map, but it turned out to be a fatal choice. Team Spirit lost the first 4 rounds on the T side, then managed to even the score, but then dropped another 4, ending the first half 4-8. On, I remind you, what is typically the stronger side. And then the Mongols just destroyed Team Spirit's defense, not allowing them to win a single round on CT. And that was it, Spirit to the lower bracket. The final match of the day was the showdown between Na'Vi and Pain, and once again, Na'Vi were the clear favorites against the underdogs, but given the day's surprises, I was waiting for anything to happen. But unfortunately for Pain and fortunately for Na'Vi, nothing unexpected happened. On Pain's pick Anubis, things started well for the Brazilians as they won the first 3 rounds, but after that it was like they were completely dismantled. They managed to secure only 1 more round in defense. But that wasn't too alarming, since the T side is much stronger on this map. However, Na'Vi didn't drop a single round on their CT side, winning 10 in a row. Next was Na'Vi's pick Mirage, and again Na'Vi had no issues, no troubles. They started with 10 rounds in the first half. But then they pulled off an incredible 3v4 retake with weaker weapons. Then they just secured the final round and took the map. Dominant performance, Na'Vi advanced, Pain to the lower bracket. So we're about to see Na'Vi versus Astralis for a spot in the playoffs, and I can't believe it, but Saw versus the Mongols for the same. While it could have been G2 versus Spirit. These two will face off to avoid elimination, as will Pain and 9Z. Group B is not over yet, but we can look forward to clashes between Mouse and Falcons and Vitality versus Furia, while the remaining teams await their opponents. Whew. So, my friends, that's all for today. I'm kinda tired, but I'm super happy to bring the news to you. I remind you to hit the like button and follow our channel. And also comment with whatever you like. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.